In Throne of Liberty we have ultimate skills that let our character transform into different guardians. And these guardians are especially in PvP really powerful. But maybe you don't know what guardian to pick. Don't you worry, I will explain you all the best guardians for each class in PvE and PvP. When we're talking about PvE, we're obviously talking about dungeons. And since you can't use guardians in 3v3 arena, you will mostly use them on large scale PvP. So when I rate now those guardians, just keep that always in mind. Okay, let's start with the basics. Guardians lets you transform into different forms for about 30 seconds. In this time you will have some nice additional effects, but the Guardians have a 10-minute cooldown. Okay, so let's have a look what we have. First up we have Lady Knight Kamarshea. When you activate the Guardian, then you are getting a shield for 50% of your maximum mana. Additionally, you will get 40% cooldown speed. It's just a really good defensive Guardian. You will not use that because the cooldown speed, you will use that just because of the shield. Because cooldown speed has just really high diminishing returns in this game. But you will use this Guardian for almost all range classes in PvP. So for all bow staff players, all the healers and so on. It's just the best defensive Guardian. Next up we have the Green Ranger Elowen. When you use the Guardian, you will bind all enemies in a 4 meter radius for 5 seconds around you. Additionally, you have more crit chance against those targets. This is just by far the most broken Guardian in the game, and every melee player should always play it in PvP. It's just so good in all forms of large scale PvP. You just have the ability to engage and just bind all surrounding players for 5 seconds. There's not a lot to say, it's just a really good Guardian. Okay, with Brutal Warrior Valkarg, you are accumulating damage that you are taking, and you can release a part of this damage by using a crowd control effect on a person. So you are taking damage and then releasing that damage on another person. So it's easy in large scale to accumulate a lot of damage, but you can release this damage only on one person. For a Guardian with a 10-minute cooldown, just killing one person is just not impactful enough. So you should never play this Guardian. Next we have Shade Revenant Stheno, where we shoot 5 projectiles each second at random enemies within our range. These projectiles can also hit all the same target, so this is by far the best Guardian for PvE for each class. It doesn't matter if you are heal, tank, melee DPS or range DPS. You will always play with this Guardian. You shoot so many projectiles on a target which deals crazy amount of damage, and it also triggers all the on-hit effects, which is really good. Because it also triggers on-hit effects, it can be also used from crossbow combinations in PvP. Just because you can utilize this Guardian really good. Next we have Pale Nemesis Hartach. So what he does is when you defeat a target, you will get invis for 5 seconds, and in the night even for 7.5 seconds. And this counts for the whole 30 seconds. So you kill one and get invis. You kill another one and you get again invis. So in the hand of a really good assassin, the Guardian can be really good. But most of the time you would just play the Green Ranger as assassin because it's most of the time way more impactful in large scale PvP. But as mentioned, in the hands of a really good assassin, this can be a really good Guardian. The next one is called Vampire Slayer Ezekiel. Here we are getting some nice defense and dealing a percentage damage of our max HP to nerby targets. Additionally, we are also healing apart from this damage. So this sounds in theory really good for tanks, right? So we are getting more tanky, and depending on our max HP, we are dealing damage to our enemies. This just sounds so good for tanks, but it's completely useless. So the defense is nice, but the damage is just way too low to be impactful in large scale PvP. And the last one is the Masked Warlock Dantalux, where we're regenerating mana when we are using spells, but not only for ourselves but also for our nerby teammates. Yes, mana can be a problem in Throne of Liberty sometimes, but using a Guardian which gives you only mana back is never worth it. If you have that crazy mana problems, then you have to rethink your build, because you can use those Guardians only all 10 minutes. All the other time you don't have mana then, it's just not a good Guardian, never take it. To sum that up again, if you are serious about PvP, then you play as a melee the Green Ranger. Doesn't matter if you're a tank, a greatsword dagger or whatever combination you are playing. It's sadly just way too overpowered, or the other ones are way too underpowered, but you have to play it. If you're a ranged player like a bow staff, a healer and so on, usually always go for Lady Knight Kamarshea. The shield can just be really powerful, and of course the cooldown speed is also not bad. And for PvE, as mentioned, everyone uses the Shade Revenant Stheno. That's just the current meta for Guardians, but hopefully there will be adjustments in the future. Okay, now how do we get those Guardians? You will unlock the Guardians with the main quest in chapter 5. Here you will get your first Guardian also. All the others you are getting through different exploration quests. Simply go to the Guardian overview and click on the How to Acquire button. Then you will see the quest which will give you the Guardian. Then you just do the quest and you will have the Guardian. That's it. Now you might ask, when do you use those Guardians in a fight? So for PvP, usually they are always called in Discord or TeamSpeak. So the shot caller calls next engage, we are using our Guardians. Maybe it's just an important skirmish or just a really important push. Always in those moments you want to use the Guardian. Like especially with the Green Ranger Guardian, you want to coordinate usage of those in your group. So at the beginning you just need to get used to the Guardian and practice with it. But later on usually these Guardians are always timed well together, as mentioned, to do good pushes or make sure to win a certain skirmish. PvE, you are using the Shade Revenant Stheno just always at the end of the fight. So if the boss is around 20 to 30% HP, then everyone is using the Guardian to deal additional damage and finish the boss. Try always to use it right after a major mechanic, so you can actually get the maximum damage out of it. Okay, that's already it, all you need to know about the Guardians. If you have further questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comment sections. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see ya in the next one.